Okay, so I guess if I'm gonna do this social media thing, I should talk a little bit about how exactly I got to where I am right now. And ever since I was in high school, I kind of knew that I wanted to ride motorcycles. It was something I was always like really interested in, but high school being high school was definitely not the best time for me to be starting this hobby, as it requires a lot of focus. It's not all just games, you know, as I was saying last video. That's why if I had started in high school, I probably would have ended up getting really hurt, and why it's why I'm doing it now. I'm a little bit more responsible, as I'm a college student now, studying architecture, which something that I love and enjoy. And also, I have friends that can support me in this hobby, as my buddy and I did the MSF at the same time, got our licenses relatively at the same time. I'll talk more about that in a second. But it's overall just better that I have my my license now versus in high school. And I'm so glad that I do, because it's so rewarding, just to have this like opportunity and this skill to experience this, because not a lot of people get to experience this because of their fears, which is 100% valid. This is a really dangerous hobby, and you have to be really careful and be constantly paying attention, because like that person right there could be on their phone and just making a blind turn and not see me at all. And you know, that would be wraps. That would be it. So it requires yourself to look out for yourself, because other people may not be willing to do that. You know, always assume that you are invisible. Anyways, back to talking about how I got my license specifically. In California, we have the CMSC, which is the like centrifugal motion safety course, or whatever. I think that's what it's called. And it's a two-day course. You have an online course that you have to take, which usually takes, it depends on how like fast you run through it. For me, I spent like a whole week doing it, just like pacing myself and making sure that you know, I was being responsible with my time. And then after you do the online test and the online coursework, do all the learning, like the book work, you get 2 days to learn how to operate a motorcycle, which personally I don't think is enough. I feel like we should have longer courses here in the US. But it is the US, so who knows. Anyways, my first time being on a motorcycle was actually in torrential downpour. So I started like basically in the middle of a thunderstorm, which is not ideal when you're riding a giant metal horse, you know? So we actually almost had to cancel our second day where our test was and reschedule because of the thunder and lightning. That was how bad it was. My buddy passed his writing test first try. I unfortunately did not. I can make as many excuses as I want. Oh, I was in the rain. Oh, blah, 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 blah. No, I just wasn't ready. If my buddy could pass it in the rain, then I should also be able to pass it in the rain. And it really just came down to confidence and the stamina. I was tired. We were taking the test at like really early in the morning. We had to be up at like 5 so that we could get to where we were training at, and then it lasted from like 6 to 12, I think. And so like my stamina just wasn't there. I was allowed one more retest, which obviously I passed because I wouldn't be on this bike right now if I hadn't. And I think like overall the coursework in general cost me about like $600 to do the retest and the test. Which is unfortunate, but you know, it happens. It's really important to know like all the stuff that they teach you. It'll save your life. But yeah, so he got his license probably a month before I got mine. We went and picked my bike up. It was probably like 70 miles from my house. So it was a little bit of, it was like probably the biggest test ride back to my house like ever. So we definitely would have found out if something had broken if, you know. Anyways, thank you to my friend for riding it back to my house for me when I didn't have my license. I really appreciate you for everything that you've done for me so far. I know that we're both learning together, and there's so much more to learn. There's always so much to learn, guys. Anyways, now it's just a matter of getting all of my friends on bikes, you know, and just helping them, teach them, you know, how to do things. Be careful of this person. I don't know what they're doing. That's kind of scary. But just trying to teach them and have fun with them. Obviously being safe and responsible about it. I'm not going to put them on a bike if they're not ready for it, but I think they are. They just need the time and the money, you know. So probably come August, I'll have another riding buddy, and I'm really looking forward to riding with him. That'll be really good. You know, the more friends that you have in the community, the less likely, you know, you are to do something. Well, maybe it depends on what kind of friends you got, but the less likely you are to do something stupid. I know that insurance goes down if, at least in the US, if you are in like a club or something, because, you know, you'll have more people around you to like help you when you're in a club. But again, that's really dependent on like who you are, like who's around you. And it's always really important, like people say ride your own ride. Like seriously, dude, ride at the level that you're comfortable with. Don't try and like pace off someone else who's like been riding for way longer than you. Like I'm obviously not going to pace myself off someone's who's been riding for 10 plus years if I've only been riding for like 2 months or a month and a half, you know. It's not, That's a good way to get hurt. I don't like going in front of people if we stopped at similar times. It's just too nerve-wracking for me. So I just let them go. That way, like, I'm not holding anybody up if I'm not riding properly. I just want to ride how I ride, you know? I don't want to have to worry about the people behind me doing dumb stuff. Tailgating me, whatever, who knows? Because it's not... It's a little bit different to be tailgated on a bike than it is to be tailgated in a car. It's a lot more dangerous, you know, because you obviously, like, you have that risk factor of not having a giant metal cage around you to protect you, but also just like if you fall off sliding on the asphalt, especially in no gear, will really hurt. Huh, she's running kind of hot. 185 for the temperature. It's probably because I'm like going like slower right now, at slower speeds. Try and keep the RPMs down. You know, parking lots kind of suck. Oh my god. Why is there so much traffic? What the hell? Okay, I need to put my feet down. We're stopping. Guys in my class. Hey, what up, dude? I had my blinker on that whole time. Oops. I was too focused on what was happening in front of me. Yeah. Alright, I have a 5-hour class, so I will see you guys after I'm done. Like, oh geez, look at the heat coming off this thing. You see the waves on the ground? Damn. But anyways, I have a 5-hour class, so I'll probably see you guys afterwards, unless I don't really have much else to talk about. I think that was relatively it. So we'll see. I'll talk to you guys whenever I talk to you guys next. Oh god, 5 hours later, 5 hours of sitting at a computer trying to do all the CAD and AutoCAD stuff for my architecture class. It's a lot of work, guys. God, let me try to fix this. Okay, but yeah, so five hours later, here we are. Probably just gonna go home. I don't really remember where we left off exactly. I know I was talking about something. How I got to this bike, I guess, or how I got to my M1 in general. Oh, that's okay, cool. How I got to my M1? Not a straight path at all, as I was saying. The MSF, it took me 2 tries. I had to do a retest after my initial test, like I was saying. My first test was in the rain. I learned how to ride in the rain. You definitely got to be careful when it comes to like the ground being wet, and like when you're braking, you need to remember that you need more distance to stop. I'm just gonna go. I'll probably be pretty quiet for the rest of the ride home. Maybe I'll like just talk a little bit about like what I'm looking at when I'm writing and my like thought process. Maybe, I'm not too sure. I'm being extremely mindful now of like what people have told me in the comments of the last video, paying attention to like where I'm positioned in like what lane and all that, because I know that like lane position is really important. You don't want to be riding in the middle of the lane, obviously, for a multitude of reasons. That's where like all the debris collects and stuff. Typically, if there's a bike lane, like I said, I like to be over here. It gives me an escape route, especially in case of like stuff like that. And I'll probably end up getting on the freeway, so it's probably gonna get noisy. But yeah, that stuff that they teach in the MSF is like progressive braking and lane positioning, both super duper important. And just basic cornering skills. They have a turn signal on. Can't tell. I don't like it. I think that's really all I wanted to talk about for the most part, is just like the things that the MSF have taught me a little bit. You know, my journey as to how I got here and where I'm looking to go in the future. I'm hoping, you know, I'm not expecting this to be like a career or anything. I'm kind of just doing this for fun and enjoying my time. I am a college student. I'm hoping to pursue a career in architecture and start my own firm at some point. I have no idea if that's feasible in this economy and like the way that things are nowadays, but I sure am trying my best. Anyways, as I was saying, I have no idea what the future holds for me. I'm really looking forward to seeing where I end up. Kind of just going with the flow for right now. Trying to live. I'm more scared of not living than I am scared of dying. If you can understand that. But anyways, I think that's all I wanted to talk about. I hope everybody is, you know, enjoying their Thursday or whatever day it is, you know. But yeah, I'll talk to y'all later whenever I see y'all.